Hey, so I gotta get underneath the gas tank on this. My front wheel speed sensor is throwing a code. I had Ducati pull it, and it was that and a couple communications with the front ABS there. So I gotta get underneath the tank because looking at the service manual, it runs from here, goes up, comes all the way over, and then your front sensor connector is back in there. And I had this company in Langley, Canada called MAS Cycles tune it, and since he's tuned it, I've had this light, and so he was no help at all, that Mike guy, but so since then I've been trying to figure out what's causing this light, and so I had Ducati pull the codes, and it turns out it's the front speed sensor. So I'm going to check the connector because the ECU had to be pulled, and I'm wondering if he bumped the connector, disconnected and forgot about it. So I figured I would also make a video on how to get the gas tank off and get to the ECU on these bikes. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take these off. There's two here, and then there's one right there, and then this piece just pulls out. It's just a couple clips holding it in. So with that piece out of the way, the next bolts we're gonna go after. Oh, and by the way, these are all T25 Torx bits. So we're gonna take these two out, and then this piece will just pull right out. It's on a couple clips, and then you're gonna take this top one out, this one out. There's zip ties here. You're gonna cut that zip ties off, disconnect right here, come on the inside here. Hopefully you can see it. I have the, let's see. You can't quite see. Oh, there you go. I have the radiator cover, so there's two more screws here that comes off, and then this is on several clips through here, so you just kind of gently pry and the whole thing will pop off. And it's on this rubber post here. It's got a little rubber grommet there, and then it's on this post, so the whole thing drops down, and then you can just pull the whole thing right out. I've already done this side, so you can see where those clips are for the top piece. And then I like to, just to make my life easier, once I take the piece out, I take the screw that goes there, and I'll just put it back in, so that when I'm reassembling it, the screws are already there. Okay, so with those pieces out of the way, obviously you got to do both sides, but I had already done this side before I decided to make the video. Next we're going to go after the top here, because this is just a cover for your tank. So it's going to be these two screws, these two right here, this one, there's one right there, same thing on the other side right here, two up there, and then on the sides you got this one, this one, this one, and I thought there was one underneath here. Nope. Yep, so we'll pull those. Same thing on this side. Obviously that one, that one, that one. And so this piece will just pull right up. I just move it out of the way because this cord's kind of a pain in the ass to get that out of there. But so I'll just move that out of the way. These obviously will come out, and then this whole piece, the gas tank cover, will come right off. So once you get this piece off, there's two more bolts under here before this whole plastic comes off. The other thing to keep in mind is, I believe it's this one, this screw right here, this one, and then same thing on that side. Those two are going to be longer than the rest of your screws, so don't get these mixed up. Yeah, these are just a hair longer than the rest of the screws. I'm trying to see if I can show you. As you can see, they're just a little bit longer, so don't lose those, or else you'll have a hard time getting that piece back on. The other thing, I don't know if I showed it or not, so I'm going to go ahead and record it, is there's screws here as well, and they will have the little plastic washer underneath them since it's on a fairing piece. Okay, so now that we got the cover out of the way, to get the gas tank off. And I'm not going to remove the gas tank all the way, just because I don't have a tool to crimp this hose back on, but there's enough slack in this hose to do what I need to do. I just need to get to the sensor, which is on the front side down there. So we'll go ahead and we'll remove this clip here, or this wire here, undo the wire here, undo that wire, pull the vent hose here off. Down on the sides here, these are your fuel lines, so you'll go ahead and twist that shut. Don't over tighten it, just get it hand tight. Undo the hose clamp here and then pull the hose off, and it's going to be the same thing on the other side here. It's going to be the same thing down here. This, you can actually take this piece off. It just goes, it's in there with some clips. You can kind of see it up there. You just kind of pull the rubber over it and this whole piece will come off and out of your way. Same thing here. Block that in and then undo the hose and pull the hose off. And then the last part, which is kind of a tricky one, is your fuel. So those must be returns. This must be the supply because I think the pump's underneath here. But this is pressurized. And to get this off, these are kind of a pain in the ass to do. But you push down on this, and then I take a real small screwdriver. So I take a small screwdriver, and there's 4 tabs here. Let's see if I can't get it to focus. So there's 4 tabs here, and then you just push those tabs out while you're pushing down, and then when you get it all done, you're going to want to put a rag or something over it, and then slowly it'll pop out. But the first time I did it, I thought I actually broke the clip, but what happens is when you're pushing down, you push this out, it'll stay out of the way, and then the last one will allow it to pop out. Okay, so now the gas tank is actually ready to come off. I wiggled it off a little bit. One thing to note is you're going to want to close both of these valves before you disconnect the hose, or else you'll just drain one side out of the other. It must be a balancing line is what that is, I think. Anyways, that's just a guess. And then this side, it's real hard to get that off. So what I did was I obviously I had that shut, loosened this up, worked the hose a little, and then lifted up the gas tank, and the hose popped off itself. But at this point, if you needed to remove the whole gas tank, you would take that hose off, pull the whole tank off. And if not, I don't think I can do this with one hand, but the ECU is actually right there underneath the tank. And that's your location of your ECU. And it's pretty simple to get that ECU out. There's a clip on that far side there. You'd pull it down, and then the whole wire harness pops right off of it. And that is the tank removal on the 21 Multi.